Welcome everyone. My name is David Orban, and I have been, like some of our previous speakers, in this space for a really long time. And at Beyond Enterprises, we really look at long-term value creation. We have the ability to help projects with strategic advisory at 360 degrees. And we look at how what we are doing is creating positive impact in the world. I have had the chance of participating, experimenting, and making hopefully interesting mistakes as an investor in the original, the DAO, or creating and nurturing communities with thousands of participants and tens of thousands of participants that were more on the periphery in some of the original platforms that today we call metaverses. We are advisors to projects. One of them is SingularityNet, where I'm the chairman of the supervisory board, tasked with a multi-year project in progressive decentralization. How do you give birth to a project that most of the times today will be centralized at the beginning and then achieve an end goal of turning it into a DAO and making it decentralized? So for those of you whose attention span has been definitively destroyed by TikTok, let's jump to the conclusion. Can we empower NPCs in DAOs to reliably further human objectives? No. We cannot guarantee that bots and machines and AIs are going to do what we tell them to do. We haven't had the mathematical ability to work it out. It is an existentially important, very, very hard question. So we have to really try, and hopefully we have to succeed in understanding what the at least range of possible solutions is, but we are still absolutely not there. So in human groups of participating and collaborating individuals, we always had different kinds of decision-making, oftentimes delegated, as in political elections or shareholder votes or board votes. And these delegated decisions were necessary and in everything and anything we could do given the technology available at the time. Today, many of us don't realize when we complain about the fact that, oh, how come Twitter is deciding what to show me? I should be the one deciding what to see. Well, try to follow the fire hose of tweets when you have 10,000 or more accounts to keep track of. It will be still a haphazard selection based on the snapshot of when you open the app. And then the next time you open the app, it will be the latest tweets out of the 10,000 that happen to be under your eye. So if you prefer this kind of completely casual pick, that's fine. But otherwise, you have to realize that every Facebook like, every YouTube dislike, every retweet is a vote in a particular training of an algorithm that is working for a series of interests collaborating your interest as a participant to be engaged, and the interest of the platform to be profitable, the interest of the advertisers in the current business models to sell you something. So the question, in my opinion, is how to approach a future where our naive complaints are going to be proven to be even more desperately unaddressable as we today realize. Because bots are here to stay. Today is the day with the least amount of bots online. Tomorrow there will be more, and the day after more still. So if we understand that, then we can maybe move a step forward and not wage a losing war of trying to eliminate and exclude them. How valuable it could be for all of you, and for sure for me, if I could have a programmable filter on LinkedIn that could interactively ask anyone wanting to connect a series of simple questions. In my case, actually, it would be, do you want to buy or do you want to sell? And we are done, right? But if you want to be less brutal about it, whatever you want, that kind of digital assistant on the platform could be very useful indeed. And already, LinkedIn is very timidly doing that when they are prompting the conversation, which I am happily actually accepting and blindly spamming the other party in the conversation with these AI-generated replies, which, you know, work fairly well, and I can think my human thoughts. So the challenge is, of course, that whether it is LinkedIn, whether it is YouTube, the centralized platforms are not malicious, but they are just not enough in number to stumble upon the solutions that we don't know yet exist. The attempts that they can afford to carry out are too limited. The reason why we are, at least I am so happy of the blossoming of thousands and tens of thousands of initiatives and projects in the crypto world is because the more there are, the more likely some of them will succeed. So Google, Facebook, and all of the others just don't cut it, and it doesn't matter how much money they have. Now, some of you may realize how fierce the competition between the crypto world and the AI world is for the scarcest of our resource, which is human talent. There are the smartest of my friends who are tempted by one or the other and jump from one or the other every year or two because of how exciting both of the fields is. But for those of you who haven't been following the field of AI for the past few years or months, it has been on a tear, just like the field of blockchain and Bitcoin and crypto. And I recommend you checking out this prediction market platform called Metaculus, where there are a lot of interesting questions and people betting on the outcomes. In particular, there's a question about human-level artificial intelligence. When is it going to be available? And a lot of experts vouch and say, I believe there is an 80% probability that it will be available before the end of the century. Okay, that's a certain kind of prediction. Others are more sanguine about it. So as you look at the predictions, you may notice that in the past few months, there has been an astonishing change where rather than in the 2040s, the expert consensus is converging for human-level AI to be available before the end of this decade. And that is due to the advances that we have seen in the latest approaches in AI. DeepMind, Google Research, OpenAI, Facebook AI have been announcing more and more capable systems. The one I'm showing here, for example, is called Gato, that performs better than 50% of the human experts on something like 600 separate, very, very diverse tasks, from generating text to classifying images to planning the path and the movements of a robot or a robotic arm. And we can, of course, say, oh, 600. What is 600? It's a very arbitrary and very low number in the number of tasks that a human could attempt to solve. But then what is 6 million? Or what is 6 billion? Or what is 6 trillion? Because the progress of these systems is not exponential, where you have a given acceleration of a trend. All of these systems are progressing at a jolting rate where the rate of acceleration itself is increasing. So what we have to do is to work even harder than we are all doing. And some of us workaholics, admittedly so, my name is David and I'm a workaholic, are happy about it. Others are actually afraid that bots and AI are going to eliminate the need for human talent. I don't believe that is going to be the case. So the work that we need to do and work even harder to achieve is to incorporate bots, incorporate NPCs, incorporate AI in our platforms to work with us so that we can set our goals for human flourishing in the future.